All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So thank you again, everybody, for being on today for our Energy Toolbase and STEM Integration Overview webinar. I'm Tracy, and I am the Marketing Manager at Energy Toolbase, and I'm going to be moderating the webinar. So we launched this integration with STEM a couple weeks ago, if you saw our press release, and this webinar is really designed to demonstrate the value of the integration and the advantages of having STEM directly integrated within your project workflow. As usual, this is going to be recorded and sent out to everybody that registered for the webinar, whether you attended or not. We'll also be doing some Q&A with the members of both the Energy Toolbase team and the STEM team at the end of the webinar. We have a really great and knowledgeable team of speakers from both sides today. Adam Gurza, Energy Toolbase's COO, he's going to start us off. And then he's going to pass things over to Chris Zock, Matt Campbell, and AJ Santa Maria, who will be diving a bit deeper into STEM and demoing the integration for us. We have a variety of attendees, some that are Energy Toolbase users and some that were brought in from the STEM team, which is awesome. So I just wanted to take a minute to talk a little bit about Energy Toolbase and who we are. For those of you who aren't familiar and haven't yet utilized our platform, Energy Toolbase, we're a leading platform for modeling and proposing the economics of solar and storage projects. Our main goal is to simplify the complexity of modeling projects and help developers design and deploy solutions accurately and transparently. Our product is currently being used by some of the top renewable energy developers in the world and can model projects in all 50 states and internationally. We're always looking for ways to enhance our modeling capabilities, especially now that the storage market is making really big gains and expected to grow significantly over the next few years. And our integration with STEM really allows our users to develop storage projects and get real-time performance with their industry-leading storage controls. So overall, it's a great opportunity for our users to have that option at no cost. So with all that said, I'm going to pass things over to Adam to talk a little bit more about the integration and the application process to get started.
Awesome. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, I'm just going to jump right on in today and start by talking through a number of the benefits that this recently launched integration offers. So really the core of this integration is all about enabling users to run energy storage dispatch simulations in Energy Toolbase using the STEM app that are really truly representative of how STEM systems operate in the field. So in order to make this happen, there has been a lot of work behind the scenes over the last few weeks with the STEM folks, whereby they've been effectively predefining and validating a lot of the energy storage hardware designs and also software control settings specs in Energy Toolbase. And again, this is just going to allow users to model storage projects for their specific customer. And of course, this could be anywhere in the country, kind of as Tracy had just mentioned, on a specific rate schedule, coupled with specific net energy metering assumptions for a specific customer's load profile, either on a standalone storage basis, a retrofitting a storage onto an existing PV system basis, or obviously a PV plus storage basis. So, ideally, this is really giving our users confidence that the simulations they're running are, again, realistic and representative of how the STEM system would operate out there in the wild. And of course, how much it would save and the corresponding project economics. So that's really the essence of the integration. And we're really, really excited to be doing this with STEM, one of the leading storage operation and control companies out there. So jumping down to bullet point number 3, we're really doing this and kind of delivering this experience directly embedded into the existing project development workflow that folks are used to. And this is obviously step 5. And you'll see shortly in the demo, we really think that using the integration is in a lot of ways more simple and intuitive than even using the Energy Toolbase simulation door given that all the specs have been predefined and configured by the STEM folks. So, this allows us to do what we're good at Energy Toolbase, which is being objective and being third party and really transparently calculating the savings of the project. And of course, STEM gets to do what they're world class at, which is showing the operations and controls of the system on a specific project. So bullet point number 4 is kind of one of my favorite ones to talk about here. And really what a lot of this unlocks is enabling developers to more efficiently identify the good projects. Certainly we've held lots of webinars and published content recently where we're talking about how there are now more, attractive CNI storage project deals out there, and there are good savings opportunities out there. The other side of the coin that a lot of folks are aware of is that a lot of CNI energy storage deals don't look good, and they don't really necessarily pencil out. And one of the things that this integration enables is for folks to answer that question quickly, and ideally not spend a lot of time on projects that don't offer meaningful savings opportunities. Excuse me. And then lastly, just kind of talking about the iterative nature of this integration, which is really exciting. Obviously, the storage market is evolving. The hardware specifications are changing. We'd certainly expect 6 months from now and 1 year from now, the equipment that STEM has currently entered in will evolve and change, as will the software controls, which in a lot of cases are going to get more efficient, which the folks, the STEM folks are going to talk about Athena shortly and how those things are constantly improving. And one of the advantages here is being able to redefine those settings on the back end and having users kind of instantaneously have access to that right on the platform. Okay, next slide, Tracy. So I just have one more slide before passing it off to the STEM folks. And I think a lot of this is pretty intuitive already, but I just want to kind of mention a couple quick items on the sign-up process. So it's in step 5. You're going to see that grayed out STEM logo initially before you've applied to use the service. We do use this term, how this is a dual opt-in integration. That basically means the Energy Toolbase user has to apply to use the service, and then STEM has to approve prior to you getting access. On the initial sign up, you're going to see the pop-up window that outlines the terms and conditions of the integration. One item we want to clarify is, there is language here that says you as the Energy Toolbase user are consenting to share data from your project with STEM. But we want to point out that there is no PII. There is no personally identifiable information that is shared or received with STEM. So basically what we're talking about here is you're not sharing, your customer's address or email or phone number. And, this is not about STEM kind of going behind your back to contact your customer. Instead, this is really just facilitating better communication between STEM and their dealer partners to have more visibility on all the parameters of the deal. Matt Campbell with STEM is going to talk in a minute on kind of the process on their end once that initial application comes through. So I'll kind of leave that to him. Just the last thing I'll mention before passing it off is that there is no cost or obligation whatsoever from the Energy Toolbase user account to use this integration, which is really pretty incredible. And there's just a ton of value here. Certainly us on the Energy Toolbase side, we've spent a lot of engineering resources over the last couple of years being able to launch this integration. And certainly the STEM folks with, some of the leading controls and operation software in the world deliver a lot of value. And it's a really incredible, sales pitch for us to encourage you as a user to sign up for this integration, to drive it, to test it, to qualify projects, and we hope really put this to work. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to Chris Zock with STEM, and he's going to kind of do the overview on both STEM and Athena.
Hello, everybody. This is Chris Zock. I am Senior Product Marketing Manager at Stem. And here at Stem, I work on translating Stem's unique capabilities to control storage hardware and to build successful projects into the offerings that our solar partners need to succeed. So I'm happy to be sharing that with you today. I'd like to thank Adam and Tracy and the whole Energy Toolbase team for hosting this webinar, for having us on here, and also just for being so responsive and customer focused as partners as we've worked together to complete this integration. I can speak for the whole STEM team when I say we are very excited to have this launched and to be telling the world about it here today. When we talk to solar developers about their thoughts on adding storage to their projects, we hear some consistent themes. And I'd like to start with that. I'm going to share some actual quotes I've heard recently during meetings with solar partners, and then I'll talk about how the combination of STEM and Energy Toolbase can help out. First, storage helps our business by saving our customers more money. We're hearing from developers they are excited to add storage because it increases the value proposition of that project beyond just the avoided energy costs from the solar, and it can solve more of their customers' problems with energy management. You know, for starters, demand charges from their peak loads, but a lot more beyond that, which we'll talk about. Energy Toolbase is so powerful, yet it's an easy to use tool for analyzing solar. And now with STEM integrated, developers can simply simulate the addition of energy storage to their projects using this tool they already know and trust. And you can quickly figure out what this increased savings means for each of your individual customers. Second, the future of our company is aligned with expanding into energy storage. Storage, we're hearing, is no longer just a nice to have. In some markets, it's really required to future-proof projects, to make that solar flexible and responsive in the face of changing energy markets and changing price curves for energy. And solar plus storage is a more differentiated offering. It can help increase revenues and margins at a time when standard solar project is looking more and more commoditized. And, you know, as Adam said, using Energy Toolbase with STEM, you can quickly evaluate storage for every project you're developing. You can explore new opportunities for expanding your storage business into new markets, and you have that power in your hands. And third, I've been telling storage providers, stop trying to sell me equipment. We hear comments like this all the time. Storage is much more complicated than just dropping an extra box into the installation. The developers are looking for a collaborative partner who can help them succeed and deal with the challenges of storage that are unique and different than solar, like how to design the system and how to get this project financed and how to sell the benefits to the customer. And these developers don't want to and can't afford to fail while they try to figure this out for themselves. At STEM, we're listening closely here, and we are working hard to be that collaborative partner that can enable you to grow your business and to win in this rapidly expanding market. And we hope that by working with STEM, developers can be confident that they can successfully execute the projects that they're designing in Energy Toolbase, which is just the beginning, because they'll be working with the most experienced provider of commercial energy storage solutions in the world. So looking at the list of the audience, we can see that there's a lot of you who are actively using Energy Toolbase today, and you know just how useful this tool already is for designing your projects and creating proposals. And while most of you have probably heard of STEM around the industry, you may have never had a chance to work with us directly. So I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce who we are and talk about how we're working with our solar partners to help them succeed with storage. STEM's core technology is our proprietary artificial intelligence software called Athena, which we use to precisely control when batteries are charging and discharging so that we can optimize the timing, when energy is used by the customer, and when that solar is generating. So we use this Athena AI to control energy storage system hardware from a range of leading tier 1 suppliers. To be clear, we do not manufacture hardware. We stay out of that business and focus on just finding the best hardware that's available and controlling with our software. In order to communicate between Athena and the energy storage system, we've built an edge computing platform. And this is basically a powerful computer that we connect to the storage system, and it speaks with Athena in the cloud. And this kind of reliable, high-speed communication is critical to optimizing energy use in real time. And we have redundant network connections to make this fully reliable. When you have this kind of AI-powered storage system, there's some really powerful benefits that come out of it. Energy savings can be fully automated, and no one needs to be in the loop. No humans need to make decisions about how to run the system because the AI can do that much faster and more accurately. The system can start, participating and supporting a grid that can use more renewable energy, can respond at times of grid strain, and as a bonus, the customer can earn some new revenues for that kind of interaction. It can make solar more valuable, which we're going to be talking about in a lot more depth today. And it can continuously update as energy prices change, as there's new rules, as net metering rules change. This provides protection against that kind of change, and we're finding that our customers really like this kind of flexibility and independence they can get from their utility. At Stem, we've built now the largest storage network of commercial systems in the world with over 500 systems operating today. And we have 400 more systems we're installing, and over 100 of these systems already have solar. So this solar plus storage movement is really rolling now. In the process of building out this network, we've been able to accumulate really unparalleled degree of experience in executing projects and understanding all the hurdles you have to get over to get it done. And we've also had the opportunity to invest more in our technology, I think, than anyone else. We've, at this point, 200 person years of software development into creating Athena, and we're accumulating rapidly more operating experience. We're at 8 million hours now, and this kind of data is really valuable for improving the performance of the software and increasing its ability to learn the patterns of our customers' facilities. Today, we're really focused on talking about how Stem works with Energy Toolbase, but I want to note that this is just one small piece of the entire process of developing and operating a successful solar plus storage project. And Stem is here to guide our partners and help them all along the way. Starting from when you're looking for those new leads, we have a team who is talented and experienced at finding those customers and communicating the value with them. We help our partners to find new opportunities. Of course, we do work hand in hand to make sure that you can design a project that's optimally sized and create the proposal in Energy Toolbase. And then we help work alongside to work with that customer and make sure they understand the value of storage that you're adding so you can win that deal. We have experience and over $500 million of project finance capital that we've raised ourselves, so we can help ensure that you're successfully able to add storage into your financing. We manage the supply chain so that you can focus on your solar expertise, and we can help with the storage. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. When it comes to getting these things installed, we can help you with the interconnection, the permitting, working with the AHJs who are starting to understand storage better and make sure that you can execute on the timeline and costs that you planned for. And then, as I'll talk about soon, the operation of storage is really critical, and that's where the value really gets delivered. So on that note about operations, I think what's really key to note is that storage is fundamentally different than solar in terms of how it operates and what's required to do that successfully. Solar is hardware that simply outputs power when the sun is shining. Storage, meanwhile, needs to be controlled every second in order to produce value. The hardware by itself is full of potential, but it won't produce any savings unless the timing of when it's charging and discharging is highly optimized, sometimes down to the second. So what I'm showing here in this example is one of our customers. It's a high school in Escondido, which is in the San Diego area. And we are looking ahead a month out in order to understand what this customer's load might be. We need to predict what kind of energy they're going to be using 30 days in advance so that we can design the optimal control strategy in order to minimize their bill at the beginning of the month. And with this kind of challenge in forecasting and consuming all the data required to make this kind of prediction, you can see the role of artificial intelligence in completing this task. And this is really what's unique about the challenge of operating storage and where STEM is really focusing as we develop this technology. In terms of how we apply that Athena intelligence to a system, we've designed this around the concept of Athena apps. And each of these Athena apps is one way that storage can deliver value to a project. And what's fundamentally important about storage is that it's so flexible, it can really perform a multitude of applications, and it can earn multiple value streams, as it's called. In this example here, we're talking about some common value streams that you can be modeling in Energy Toolbase, including optimizing a utility bill in order to minimize both the demand and energy charges, kilowatts and kilowatt hour costs, ensuring that the system is operating within the compliance rules for incentives in terms of, say, the minimum number of cycles required, charging that system from solar, which helps to earn the investment tax credit for the storage costs, and optimizing the timing of when that solar exports so that it can earn the most possible value in net energy metering. And with Athena, we do what we call co-optimization of these Athena apps. That means that we can operate them all simultaneously and prioritize whichever of these apps is most critical or most valuable at any given time. And you'll hear this principle called value stacking in the industry. It's really leveraging multiple value streams at one time. We can customize which of these Athena apps are applied to your project to meet the needs of your unique customer situation. And these apps are always being updated. It's really important to have a system that's flexible, can digest new tariff rates as they're released, as NEM rules change. The market is really dynamic, and the initial configuration of this storage project is just the beginning. And you want to have a platform that's going to be updated over time. Every one of our systems is updated regularly, and a system that we installed 5 years ago is running the same exact software as one that we installed just yesterday. So there's never any concerns about having a legacy or outdated approach. And finally, you need to have really accurate forecasts and tariff databases in order to power these apps. So we use these forecasts of the customer's load, the solar output, the prices in the market in order to perform the perfect optimization. And we use machine learning to use that 8 million hours of operating data to continuously improve the ability to forecast accurately. On the hardware side, we provide a full lineup of certified hardware that works with Athena. The energy storage hardware supply chain is really evolving rapidly, and we found that our partners really appreciate the opportunity to use a consistent software supplier while they're able to select and choose the best hardware for any given project independently. So that's this flexibility, because STEM has designed our software to be really neutral to the hardware, and we can just plug in a new hardware option as soon as it becomes available. All the options that we have in our lineup are really the top tier of quality, and we do a lot of due diligence to ensure that they're going to meet the requirements and perform as expected. We have AC coupled and DC coupled options as you're looking for different ways to optimize the design of your project, or perhaps looking to get as much power as you can under an interconnection limit. And these systems come in a wide range of sizes. For an individual battery pack, we have systems from 200 kilowatt hours up to 4 megawatt hours, and then each of these battery packs can be stacked up into almost a limitless size to get to whatever size is necessary for your project. So By working with STEM on this ESS procurement, you can benefit from the lower costs that we have from purchasing in such volumes across our own projects and all of our partners. We can really handle a lot of the complexities of procurement, the negotiation of warranties with these suppliers, which are quite complex because they're based on the cycling of the system and the performance guarantees. And we can handle all of that. We have certified the performance so that you know that software is that Athena is going to deliver as expected. And if something happens in the supply chain and one of these suppliers can't deliver, we have backup options and we can supply something else in its place so that your project doesn't get delayed. So we get a lot of questions, as you'd expect, about, hey, which markets should we be pursuing for solar plus storage? So let me start by just saying, hey, where is STEM active today? Here are some of the markets where we are operating and installing projects now. California has been a leader, of course. Massachusetts and New York are ramping up really rapidly right now. We're seeing a lot of excitement there with new incentives in the market, such as SMART and the New York Sun incentive. Hawaii, of course, is leading the way in its journey to a fully renewable grid. And Arizona and Texas are following now to tap into that really great solar resource there. This is just the beginning, and the markets are evolving really quickly. We hear a lot of talk in various policy circles about what states might be introducing new incentives. So this is always being updated, and we welcome any inquiries from our partners about, hey, what do you think about this opportunity in this new market? You know, we're hearing chatter about places like Connecticut, New Jersey, Vermont, and more. So we're actively collaborating with our partners about where they want to go next. At this time, I'm going to hand off to Matt, and he's going to dive into some more detail about how storage operates specifically to add value to a solar project.
Great, and thanks for that overview, Chris. And hello to everyone on the line today. My name is Matt Campbell, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Analyst here at STEM. I'm going to quickly run through 3 key drivers of why adding storage to solar can increase overall value. So the first key driver is bill optimization. And for behind-the-meter projects, storage can optimize the net demand for a building and earn bill reductions where solar can't. The flexibility of STEM-powered storage ensures that as tariffs move the most expensive times of the day away from peak solar production, bill savings from a solar and storage system still remain strong. Next, we have incentives. And in markets across the country, lucrative incentives have been released with specific cutouts for energy storage. Now, California's self-generation incentive program has been leading for several years. And now we have meaningful programs in New York through the New York Sun Storage Adder and Massachusetts through the SMART program, among many others. And these incentives, coupled with a 30% investment tax credit for storage, are able to offset a large part of the capital expense of a storage project. And the last is interaction. Storage is a dispatchable resource, meaning these systems can charge and discharge energy from the grid instantaneously. Utilities and grid operators will compensate dispatchable resources like storage that are able to provide on-demand reliability and services to the grid. Now, STEM has already enrolled more than 100 sites in programs like this. For example, California's Demand Response Auction Mechanism, or DRAM program in California. And we are now seeing regulators mandate the integration of storage resources into wholesale energy markets across the country. And solar and storage projects are primed to take advantage of new revenue streams through interaction with these markets. Now let's dig into some of the ways that STEM-enabled storage is able to maximize bill savings. The graph you're seeing is a visualization of a solar and storage project directly from Energy Toolbase. The first is through demand charges. And storage can further lower monthly demand charges in a number of ways. In a solar and storage project, STEM is able to reduce demand charges by shaving what we call solar shoulder peaks. Now, as buildings begin to ramp up at the beginning of the day, solar production trails behind, leaving a net demand spike. The same is true at the end of the workday, as solar production ramps down before the building load. Storage can intelligently predict and reduce these morning and evening shoulder peaks and smooth the demand curve over the day. Additionally, storage is able to provide solar firming and acts as an insurance policy during solar shortfalls due to cloud cover or intermittent weather. If solar production unexpectedly dips, the storage system can instantaneously discharge to ensure a new monthly demand point is not set. Storage is also positioned to reduce utility bill energy charges for a solar project. You've already seen utilities in California shift the most expensive time of the day from midday to 4 to 9 p.m., meaning that the majority of solar production doesn't coincide with the most expensive time of the day. But if that solar system is paired with storage, the solar load can now be shifted into peak windows, ensuring that PV production is reducing load when it matters the most. It's also important to note that STEM operates the energy storage system so that it only charges directly from solar production, ensuring that an energy storage project paired with PV will be eligible for the 30% investment tax credit. And I'll now pass it over to AJ, who will demonstrate STEM's integration with Energy Toolbase.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Matt. I really appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. My name is AJ Santa Maria, and I am a sales analyst here. And I would like to show you the actual demo of everything we've been talking about. So that's pretty exciting. So I'm going to, the purpose of this demo is to not go into all of the nuances as to how to use ETB. I really want to focus on the STEM component, but I will go through the various steps just so we can make sure we're all on the same page. So you can see here I've already created a lead. And I've inputted my interval data as a facility, and I've also created a proposal additionally. So if we go into our proposal, everything will look exactly the same as you're normally used to when running a proposal in Energy Toolbase. So you have your general info for step 1, where you can select all of your inputs. Under utility rates, this is where you would look to see if you want to keep them on the same tariff or potentially look at a more solar-friendly tariff, as well as potentially a energy storage-friendly tariff. Under incentives is where you could pick all of the various incentives that you would like to apply to this project. The example that I have up here is a California SGIP project up here in PG&E territory. And this is where you can select all of that. You're probably pretty familiar with the solar PV. This is where you could input your 8760 data, or perhaps use helioscope, PV watts, whatever your usual choice is. And now, like I said, really moving into what I want to spend the majority of my time here is the energy storage component, which is step 5. So if you've never used step 5, what's great about the integration into Energy Toolbase here is that it is streamlined to the Energy Toolbase process that you're all used to. So what we're going to do is we click in to say Add Energy Storage System. We select the STEM button, and we'll be presented with this screen. So the first thing I want to talk about right here is this ESS design. So this right here contains all of the hardware that STEM has already vetted and integrated Athena into. And these are what I like to consider the base units. So for instance, the ESS 5.3-2H, one base unit of that is 111 kilowatts, 222 kWh. I will show you in just a second how we can stack those in order to create a larger system. For the purposes of this example, I'm going to choose the ESS 8.2.1 2H, which is 1000 kW. Now, once you select that, you'll notice you have these additional fields that populate or that appear. With design quantity, this is what I'm referring to as to the number of how much you want to stack the batteries. So for instance, if I wanted to do 2000 kW, I would put a 2 right here. However, for this, I would actually like to just stick with 1. And then lastly is this ESS control setting, and this is what really brings a lot of value to this. This is the actual operation of the battery, Athena, as we've been talking about it throughout this entire webinar. So we have 5 choices. The first one is solar self-consumption. And what that means is that the energy storage and Athena is going to use all of the solar generated energy on site and restrict exports at all exports. This is particularly popular in Hawaii, just for a little tidbit. The other ones are a little more straightforward, where we're doing bill optimization, and where we see in the parentheses here, we have demand and energy charges. That means that Athena, in this case, is going to perform demand charge management, energy arbitrage to help reduce energy charges. And for this particular one, no ITC means that this is not ITC compliant charging. Whereas the one just below it is ITC compliant charging, which means that the battery will be completely charged by the attached solar array. And then just below this, we also have demand charges only, where we don't want to look at energy charged optimization for both the ITC and non-ITC compliant charging. For the purposes of this example, I'm going to choose demand and energy charges, ITC, which I would say is most likely the most common use that we'll see. And then this right here in system costs is where you would actually select or input the price and the cost of the system. And that would include hardware, install, whatever margin and profit you want to take on this project. Just for now, I'm going to put a placeholder of 900,000. And then once we have all of this, we can push save. And while this is running, I just want to talk very quickly about this selection on the right, which is the ETB optimizer. What that will allow you to do is to help hone in on the best size system for your given site. And that takes into account not only the solar generation, but also the base data for the facility, the actual usage located at that site. And we'll just give it a couple more seconds to run, and there we go. You can see now that we get some of this box that shows the basic metrics of the energy storage system. And as of now, the energy storage has now been completely integrated into the rest of ETB's pipeline. So we can go right here to ETB Analytics and actually see the visualizer right here and see how the solar is interacting with the battery and how the battery is performing demand shaving and also energy arbitrage throughout the day. And you can look at this for all time periods. Now, moving forward, you can see that we have, it's just the standard ETB process. We can go to transactions and the energy storage system that we just created will flow all the way into any cash purchases or any transaction templates you have already created. Stem also has created their own, and we'd be happy to drop them in to your ETB account once you become a partner. And the same thing can be said for documents, where the energy storage will flow seamlessly into any documents you have already created. And we also here at Stem have our own templates that we would be more than happy to share with you once you become a partner. Now I'm actually going to switch back to the presentation, and this right here is just the example we just did broken out into its economics. So what I would really want to point out here is the additional value streams that storage has given this project. So just compared to the solar generation value alone, we've actually increased the project's gross bill savings in year one by over $100,000, which is a 30% increase in annual savings. And if you want to get a little more nitty-gritty into the financials, this is a 4-point increase in the IRR and from an NPV perspective, adds over $1 million of value. And I think this just really goes to show some of the easy and simple value streams that STEM and energy storage can really add to any project you have. So I hope this got you excited about the integration into ETB. I know it got me excited. And I would like to now pass the mic back to Matt, and he's going to talk a little more about next steps.
Great, thanks for that demo, AJ. And we are really excited here at STEM to get our partners up and running with this new capability. So on the screen are the next steps to get you guys up and running. And to get started, you will need to have an Energy Toolbase account. So if you do not already have an account, you can email etbhelp@stem.com for registration details and more information. And in doing so, you'll also receive an extended trial from Stem and ETB. So once you have your Energy Toolbase account, you can apply directly for STEM simulation access right inside Energy Toolbase, as Adam mentioned earlier. So simply click on the STEM button within the energy storage portion, step 5 of any proposal, and accept the terms and conditions. And this will trigger a STEM review of that application to ensure that we can fully support each partner. And we're really looking for partners with actionable, non-residential solar and storage projects. And if you have any questions about your potential eligibility, feel free to sign up through that STEM button or contact a STEM representative. Now, once you've been approved, you'll have immediate access to run STEM storage simulations, just as you saw in our demo. And also, a STEM account manager will onboard each partner, which will give you access to STEM and ETB user guides, as well as training materials that will go over how to fully complete storage proposals. The onboarding will also go through logistical items and review the ways you can reach out to STEM for help and guidance along the way. And also stay tuned for upcoming trainings that will be exclusive to our partners, where we'll dive into storage-related topics to help you optimize your proposals. If you have any other questions about STEM's partner offerings or integration with Energy Toolbase, please visit the link on the screen. And we'll also be following up today's session with all the information presented today, as well as relevant links and web pages. Thanks everyone for your time, and I'll now hand it back over to the Energy Toolbase team.
All right, thank you, Matt, Chris, and AJ. As those guys just mentioned, this integration is really useful for our users and new users, and you'll have some awesome support once your application has been accepted and a bunch of resources to turn to. I'm going to get to some Q&A. We don't have a ton of time right now, but I do want to let them answer a couple questions. So the first one I have is, what should we do if we're designing a project that doesn't fall into one of the active markets shown earlier by the STEM team?
Great, thanks Tracy. So once you've been onboarded with the access to the STEM simulation, you will be given an account manager at STEM who will be your direct contact to delve into all the details of any given proposal. And that would be a great person to talk to ask them about a market that's on the bleeding edge.
Awesome. I'm going to stay with you guys here, the STEM team. This one's for you guys too. So what's the variance and difference between you and other energy storage providers?
Yeah, I think that, we get this question a lot, and what's really core would go back to my, slide that I showed about the network. And, the first step on a long journey to getting a successful storage project is to simulate what could happen with a battery. But that's really just putting your toe in the water. And if you want to really deliver and execute on that project, it really helps to have the experience that the STEM team brings by building over 500 projects today. We got a lot of lumps along the way. There's a lot of challenges being new to a market like this. But since we've learned these lessons, we can help share them with our partners and ensure that they don't have to go through that kind of pain themselves. So I think that's really what's core and different about STEM.
Okay. I know we kind of did answer this earlier in the presentation, but someone asked, once we're accepted for the integration, will there be the custom transactions and documents dropped into our account? Adam, I will probably hand that one to you.
Yeah, the answer there is a definite yes. So we are absolutely dropping transactions into your account immediately after the STEM folks approve you to use the service. Also, we're targeting, I believe by end of this week, Chris Zock, correct me if I'm wrong, to also be sending approved dealers to the STEM integration service a more or less user guide that really kind of documents and details kind of some more of the nitty gritty that AJ was talking about and some of the technical nuances with specifying the parameters of the transaction and just understanding all of the default assumptions we're using in those transactions. So that's important to mention. And then on the document side, I think the intention there is that's going to be coming soon. And Chris, if you have anything to add on either one of those, by all means.
Yeah, no, that's all correct. We are releasing a fully fleshed out user guide here this week, and we have some initial templates for transactions, but we want to be hearing from our partners, what is it that you want to be able to show in terms of documents? How do you want to customize your proposals to really communicate that combined value of solar plus storage? So please let us know what would be useful for you, and we can work to deliver those as templates.
Great. This is one we have gotten a lot throughout the webinar today. And I know we've answered it, but I do want to ask it again just because it's a good question. What is the cost of the Stem ETB integration? Adam, maybe I'll toss that one to you.
Yeah, I'll reiterate it 4 times. It's really pretty incredible that there is no additional cost for you as a user to access, to use unlimited use of this service. And even for those folks on the line today that are not currently Energy Toolbase users, effectively what that means is you can sign up for our service. You can reach out to the STEM folks to get a extended free trial of the service. You can get on and test drive this integration for really no cost out of the gate to really see it for yourself and run some projects. So important to really emphasize that.
Okay, I think we have time for maybe a couple more. So this one is for the STEM team. Is there a control setting that's the most common when optimizing STEM within Energy Toolbase?
Yeah, I'll speak to that one. And then I saw another question come in that's kind of related to how the ESS operates. So I'll just combine those. On the most common setting within Energy Toolbase, that's going to really be focused on demand and energy charges, along with solar charging to ensure compliance with the investment tax credit. Combining those all together is usually the default starting place where our partners begin. So I'd say that's a place to start. And then another question came in, does STEM offer demand response and other grid services with your AI? And this is an important question, so I wanted to call it out. We spoke to our experience operating hundreds of storage systems today that are participating in demand response programs and are getting called due to energy market conditions. And this is definitely something that we offer to all of our solar and storage projects. So if there are Athena apps for demand response programs, like, for example, DRAM in California was mentioned. We're also working on New York demand response programs, and there's an exciting new program coming in Massachusetts as well that will pay customers for reducing demand at times when the grid is strained. So this is definitely a good strength for STEM, but you will need to work with us directly in order to perform the analysis on these added value streams to your project, because just due to their complexity, they aren't built into the Energy Toolbase simulation.
Great, thank you for that. And one last, I know we're running out of time, but I do want to get this one in real quick. Is there criteria for developers to meet to get accepted for the integration STEM? If you'd like to take that one as well.
Yeah, Matt touched on this, but just to review the key points. STEM is focused on commercial and industrial scale of customers, so we aren't working on residential projects at this time. So we'll be looking at the kind of customer that the partner is developing for. We'll be looking to see what your activity is in adding storage and what markets you're looking at. And it's important to note that we are not only doing behind the meter projects at STEM. We are also seeing a lot of interest from partners who are developing utility projects up to utility scale or distribution scale projects that are in front of meter. We're seeing a lot of growth in the community solar market in places like New York, for example. And these projects are, again, a sort of a different analysis problem than the typical behind the meter project that we see in Energy Toolbase. So we can definitely support partners who are working on these types of projects. We'll just be doing some of that analysis with our own in-house tools in a separate pathway.
All right, great. Well, I don't want to keep you guys any longer, so I'm going to end it here. I just want to say thank you so much to the STEM team for joining us. And we are going to get to all of your questions. We'll be responding via email after the webinar, so you guys will get everything answered, and we will be sending out the recording. And just one last time to reiterate, if you want that extended free trial, you can contact etbhelp@stem.com. And thank you again for everyone who joined us today. Have a good one.